Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a little bit of a different type of video today and talk about my e-readers. I am a huge fan of my e-reader. I use an Amazon Kindle, a Kindle Paperwhite. I've used about 3 or 4 different models throughout the years. I've been using Kindle products for about 4 or 5 years now, and I absolutely love them. I still love physical books, hard copy books, and I always will, but there is something really special about the convenience of an ebook, the simplicity of traveling with ebooks versus traveling with the big stack of physical hardcovers, especially if you have a tendency to read larger books, bigger books. It's a lot easier to travel with those in ebook format than in physical format. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with the Kindle, what Kindle I currently use. I right now in possession of 2 versions of the Kindle. I have the newest Kindle Paperwhite. This is the 2021 11th generation signature edition Paperwhite. So this is the sort of the flagship model now for the Paperwhite grouping, and then I have the 3rd generation Kindle Oasis here, and this was my main e-reader up until the beginning of this year when I purchased the new Paperwhite. There were a couple reasons why I decided to transfer from the Oasis to the newest Paperwhite. One of the main reasons was the battery life on the Oasis was getting really, really poor. I was having to charge this about 2 or 3 times a week, and that is far too much charging for a Kindle that's supposed to be only needing to be charged once every 3 or 4 weeks, like this product claimed. At the start, I had this for about 2 years. The first year and a half or so, the charging claim held up to the advertising. I was able to charge it once every 2 or 3 or 4 weeks or so, and it would hold battery just fine. And then it really started to dip off, and I was having to charge it all the time, and the battery would drain halfway through a book, and it's just really annoying, especially if you're traveling with this. I was traveling with this. You charge it up, you want it to last an entire day, preferably longer, but I would charge it up, and then by the afternoon it would be dead. And so when you're traveling and you don't always have access to a power source to charge it, that can be really annoying, especially if this is your only book form that you brought with you. And so the battery on the new signature edition Paperwhite is outstanding. I've had this since the beginning of the year, and I have literally only charged it 3 times since I have purchased it. It has lasted that long. It's fabulous. I also do leave it on airplane mode. I leave the brightness and the warm feature turned down, so it's really not using very much of that extra power at all. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of the other big game changers for me of switching from the Oasis, or one of the big decision makers of switching from the Oasis to the Paperwhite, is the Oasis has this this design here where they've housed the battery kind of in this one back section of the device, and so we have this kind of asymmetrical design, and a lot of people love this because a lot of people say that they're able to hold on to this sort of lip, and it's really easy for them to hold on to and read sort of like that, kind of grabbing on that lip on the back of the device. I don't find it very comfortable at all, though. It felt quite awkward for me to hold, so I would usually flip the cover over so that then I could get a flat surface and hold it. I just was not a fan of that design, especially because when you lay it down on a table, it kind of flops down and it doesn't lay flat. And so it's always kind of up at an angle. So if you're reading with it without a case on it, usually I would be, the device is at an angle when it's on the table. And so it doesn't cause that much of an issue just because of the way the e-ink screen is, but it's just a little bit annoying every time you either turn the page button or you would tap the side of the screen, the device would kind of like flop down on the table, and it's just a little irritating if you're reading for a long period of time. And so I love the Paperwhite. We get just that classic Paperwhite design again. There are a couple differences with this compared to the other models of Paperwhite. This is a 6.8 inch screen rather than a 6-inch screen, and I'm sure, you know, a 0.8 doesn't sound that big of a deal, but it's definitely a big game changer, this, compared to the previous model Paperwhite. I don't have one, so I can't show that comparison, but it certainly is all the extra space you could ask for, and it has made this the absolute perfect dimensions and the perfect size. This is by far the most fabulous e-reader I've ever used, and I'm certain I'll be using this one for a long time. I can't imagine they could improve on this very much at all. The other great thing is Amazon switched to I don't know if you can see this, to a USB Type-C, which is fabulous. They've been using USB Type-A for the longest time. Everyone's been wanting them to change over to the USB-C. They finally did on this one. It's fantastic. This device is also waterproof, which is awesome. So I'm just going to show a couple of the features that are actually that are on this, but not a ton. There are plenty of deep dive sort of tech reviews of the Kindle. One of my favorite things about the Paperwhite is the warmth setting. And so I'm going to turn the LED brightness all the way up, just so you can see this, so you can see the warm light. So this is the screen here with the warm light turned completely off. And so it's fairly blue. It's still not going to give you the same eye strain that an iPad or a laptop screen would, just because it's that e-ink front lit instead of a backlit screen like on an iPad or on a laptop or anything, or a phone. And so they have this warmth setting here, which is absolutely fabulous, and you can see it just puts a really nice sort of blue light blocker on the screen, and you can put it all the way up to this almost completely yellow effect on the screen, which for reading at night is absolutely fantastic. I tend to leave both the warmth and the brightness setting right at 13. I did a lot of sort of fidgeting around with these numbers to try to simulate a piece of paper in a paper book as best I could, and I found that 13 on both the brightness and on the warmth simulate the most realistic sort of paper quality that I was going for. Another great thing also is when you keep both the warmth and the brightness on 13, that is the power break, where anything higher than 13 uses a significant higher percentage of power than anything 13 or below, and so that also helps save battery, which is absolutely fabulous. And so I do most all of my reading on this device. I love to, they've started letting you put the cover of the book as the screensaver of the device. This was a feature on Kindles a long time ago, and then they removed it, and then in their newest software update they allowed it back again. And it's such a little thing, it doesn't influence any of the quality of reading whatsoever, but it's nice just to be able to have the cover of the book you're reading on the screen rather than an ad or just some stock Amazon wallpaper that you're not sure what it is. And so I just wanted to show this off a little bit. Also, one more thing in comparison of these two devices, the Kindle Oasis is still a fabulous e-reader, and I still highly recommend it. For me, I just like the simplicity of the Paperwhite over the Oasis. And sure, the Oasis is not that complicated in comparison to the Paperwhite. The design is a little bit of a problematic area for me, as well as the battery life. The one thing I love about the Oasis is the physical page turn buttons. Those are great, but they're not a deal breaker for me. So moving from the Oasis to the Paperwhite really wasn't that big of a deal, because I found myself a lot of times just swiping on the screen anyway, because I came from a Paperwhite to the Oasis. And so that's really been ingrained with me. And a lot of people say they find it annoying having to constantly flip the screen to move the pages. I never really found that to be that big of a problem. And so I definitely am 100% a fan of the Paperwhite. This new version is fairly pricey, and so the 2019 model of the Paperwhite, my sister has one, my dad has one, so I've used them a little bit, and they're fantastic. They are just a slightly smaller screen than this. They don't have the USB Type-C charging, but those really aren't deal breakers for a lot of people, and especially for the drop in price, highly worth it. If you are an e-book reader of any form and you do not have a Kindle Paperwhite, I highly recommend getting one. It will revolutionize your reading life. I know it did mine. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this insightful, helpful in any way. If you are thinking about purchasing a Paperwhite, obviously it comes highly recommended from me. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any comments below if you have any thoughts about anything that I mentioned. If you use a Kindle Paperwhite, what do you love about it? What do you not so keen on? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.